Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Dark Council podcast. It is the Freelancer here with Jake.
Yo!
So, we are here today after a long bit of not being around to do this. A lot of life shenanigans happening and all
Yep.
that.
'Tis the busy season.
At least for me.
Yes.
Because all the life shit
almost
happens
specifically for you.
almost specifically for me. Because I bounce around a lot. I have a lot of... At least this time there was a lot going on. Because my stepbrother's getting married. My mom's birthday, Mother's Day, and my birthday happen to be usually around, like, the same exact timeline.
Yep.
They're usually within, like, 3 days apart of each other. Because hers is the 9th, mine's the 13th. So...
Yeah, that's close enough to be the same time.
usually my birthday or hers fall on Mother's Day or fall close enough to it. So whenever I go out there to see her now, I usually just end up celebrating my birthday with her, celebrate her birthday, and celebrate Mother's Day if it happens to be close enough. Usually I'll go out that weekend of Mother's Day to spend time with her. And usually get to celebrate my birthday, her birthday, and that. Kind of get to combo the weekend together. But we are officially back as of right now. There's probably only going to be one break at any point within the next couple weeks. Because I know in June I will not. I know the weekend of the 21st in June I will not be around because I will actually be at my stepbrother's wedding.
That's fair.
So we will probably do some. So I'll probably set something up as a backlog for that. Sometime in the future.
I know there's a weekend coming up at some point that Crafty and Issa were going to go to the Ren Fair and invited anyone to go along with.
Yeah.
And I might do that because I like the Ren Fair.
Well, you'll get to actually see them.
I'll actually be able to see them in person. It'll be weird.
That'll be very weird. Getting to actually meet Jake in person.
Yeah.
Crazy thought.
You'll be able to see my face and then weep. And not because I'm so beautiful.
Yeah, we're hopefully going to be back on our regular schedule as things pop up more. The streams may be the only thing I think that's slowed down, but that's because I may be looking to actually go back to school, because I may not have a choice here in the future, so...
Oh.
Because I can't fucking survive on this $200 a week paycheck.
No. No. No, you can't.
And it is... And currently there is a whole issue going around about this low hire, low fire bullshit.
What the fuck does that...
There are places around that are not hiring a lot of people, but they also are not firing a lot of people. There are a lot of places that are doing that right now. And it's fucking...
Yeah.
It's fucking up the entirety of people trying to look for new jobs.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
That's part of why I'm like, well, I fucking already stuck the middle finger to the job hunt at this point. Because I can't fucking stand my place of work anyway.
That's fair.
And the paycheck I'm earning is already bullshit as is. And I have not been able to get enough hours.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna have to go back to school and actually fucking get me a job that'll help float me until all this shit finally takes off.
Hell yeah, dude.
So
You're not the only one. I have a coworker who's going back to going back to school. He's going to school first time.
for me, it'll be going back because I tried to do that shit and it didn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, know what that's like.
So we're gonna deal with that at some point. I'll be dealing with that over the next couple years, so we'll figure out what that's gonna end up being. how that floats out later, but for now, this is where I'm at. I pretty much gave a whole spiel about that on stream a while back. So
Gotcha.
everything as far as life stuff is slowly starting to fall back in order again, so I can stop fucking losing my shit over it.
Well, that's good.
But we are here today for our podcast, and we've got a bit of a change up to what we were gonna do. We're gonna change up. We were originally established as gonna be doing the bounty hunting. We're gonna discuss bounty hunting in the Star Wars universe, but I think I wanted to expand on that. So we're gonna cover a lot of the various illicit activities of the Star Wars universe. And we're gonna cover a lot of that in the way of like, oh, we're not gonna get to see a lot of like, we're gonna get to see how these various things either vary or change based on like the similarities to stuff in our universe.
Yeah.
Like our reality versus that one, in how criminal actions are actually perceived. Because there's a bit of, and I think the other thing of weird note and variance is that some of these criminal activities are not always fully criminal. Like there are some of these that are actually officially licensed by like powerful governments of planets or whole like galactic powers.
Yeah.
So these illicit activities are, much like everything else in the Star Wars universe, a very big gray blur when it actually comes to the morality in some of them. Others, it's very clear that this is like fucked up as all hell, but
yeah. You know, like Trandoshans and Wookiees.
yep.
Oddly enough, not a crime. Depending on who you talk to.
And which era you're in.
Mm-hmm.
But why don't we go ahead and get in on the first of these. And I think the first one to really, I think because we've mentioned it already, I think bounty hunting should be our first to kind of go in on. Because bounty hunting's it's a big profession in Star Wars. And there's a lot that really goes into it. A lot of people think, oh, it's just hunt down the guy, get the guy, done. Even playing the Bounty Hunter video game, we have seen that there is a lot of behind-the-scenes nonsense when it actually comes to bounty hunting. And especially for those like me who actively played the Bounty Hunter event in SOTOR. Actually hunting down all those targets and stuff for that event. Like, that on its own. Which, by the way, I think that's still, outside the, like, nightlife event, I think that's still one of my favorite events of SOTOR, is the bounty hunting event.
Okay.
I think of all of those from the MMO, I think that's my favorite of all of them.
I don't think I've ever participated.
It's a solid event. Like, of some of the, like, some of the, like, seasonal or weird, like, pop-up events, it's definitely one of the best. Because they have a couple in there, but it's not... The only other one I think that's really worth mentioning, and this is expressly because I'm a fucking gambling fiend, is the nightlife event on the Nar Shaddaa nightlife event. Where you literally get to go to the casino and play at all the fucking machines and try to gamble all your credits and coins away.
Hell yeah, dude.
Fucked, but it's so much fun. But you've got bounty hunting has a lot to do, and there's a lot of formality that really goes into it. And again, we've seen it in the Bounty Hunter video game we've been playing.
Yep.
We've seen it in that. We've seen it in playthroughs of other stuff. There's a lot that really goes on in that whole run. Like, bounty hunting as a profession is a wide and varied market. Because not only are you getting all these, like, criminal contracts of, like, this guy slighted. This guy is targeted by an organization because he did something wrong. You've got ones that are specifically built in out of spite or for an official government reason.
Yep.
Like, and that's the other big thing I think to note is, like, bounty hunting may be a criminal profession, but it is also a official profession.
Yes.
Of a lot of the various activities we'll be talking about here, bounty hunting may be the one that I think is widely and officially marketed by every individual in the almost every group and organization in the galaxy.
Yeah, it's a crime, but it is necessary.
Because there's even, like, there are very obviously some that are, like, really wrong in some parts of space, but are really okay in others. Like,
yeah,
in during the Clone Wars, I think they mention a lot of the bounty hunters mention, like, hey, we can get this much money for just bringing in a Jedi's lightsaber. We can get like 100,000 credits just for bringing in a Jedi's lightsaber.
Yeah. Don't have to bring in the Jedi. We could just swipe a lightsaber.
We just have to have proof that we got a hold of a Jedi. Because that's a big thing that they mention a lot in the series is like, hey, we could kill these Jedi and just bring back the lightsaber. We don't even got to bring back a body. Proof that we got a hold of the lightsaber is enough. And then you've also got some, like, crazier bounties. Like, I think another infamous one of the Clone Wars era was when Dooku tried to put out a big hit on Chancellor Palpatine. He created a whole thing he orchestrated an entire thing to try to have Palpatine basically got by bounty hunters. They try to make a whole assassination or kidnapping scheme during one of the later parts of the Clone Wars series. And it's only foiled because Obi-Wan was inserted as a spy they literally reconstructed his face to look like another bounty hunter and made him infiltrate the group of bounty hunters to basically stop the whole effort. Like, that's the only reason that whole thing got stopped. Had Obi-Wan not been the outside factor, I think they would have actually succeeded.
Oh, probably, dude. Bounty hunters are nothing if not good at their jobs.
And it's actually really scary how effective most of them are. Like,
I mean, dude, Cad Bane just assaulted the Senate.
He did just storm into the Senate. He stormed into the Senate. He did. He managed to, with a small team of, like, what was it, 8 bounty hunters?
5 or 8, yeah.
Like 8 bounty hunters, because he had an IG droid. He had a pair of IG droids and a pair of commando droids. He had turned into he had like a pair of reprogrammed commando droids that he used to infiltrate the Senate Guard.
Oh yeah, I forgot about those ones. Yeah.
They don't really do anything after they take on the uniforms, so they're kind of forgotten about, unfortunately. But I thought that was that's one of the reasons I love the commando droids so much, is because they're such a cool and versatile droid as far as, like, battle droids of the Separatists. And even to see, like, a repurposed one like that, like, the fucking commando droid's so cool.
They're pretty dope.
And it's a cool design too, but they also they were a special pair from what I understood, so but they were kind of like forgot about, so it kind of sucks that they really don't get to show much of them.
Yeah.
But he had 5 others, I think, with him, because he had Aura Singh,
who I think is one of the coolest, like, background bounty hunters. Visually, anyway.
honestly, I don't think I've ever been a fan of Aura Singh. I don't think Aura Singh has ever been a favorite of mine. I genuinely have never found myself liking Aura Singh.
What was that?
Then again,
Episode
after the
1?
whole bit with Boba, I honestly would never have liked Aura Singh.
That's fair.
Because I remember the whole bit. I remember how she treated that poor boy, and I know what she does to him in the old Boba novels. So, an old
no, she's a horrid bitch.
She is awful.
But I think she's interesting.
I mean, it's even more interesting because at one point she used to be a fucking Padawan.
Right? That's why it's so cool.
Like, there in the bounty hunter profession in general, like, you've got these random fucking dudes out here going against these literally trained warriors, the Jedi, and winning.
Yeah. Handily.
Like, and it's not just like infamous ones like Cad Bane or Jango or Boba. You've got even some minor names like, you got fucking Dengar out here fucking owning his shit against fucking Jedi.
Yeah! Oh.
You got people like fucking Dengar out here getting shit on Jedi. It's fucking insane, dude.
Dude, there's a reason why in Galactic Battlegrounds, bounty hunters are strong against Jedi.
Yeah.
They're the exact counter to someone who's just like, I have so many Jedi/Sith. What are you gonna do? And you're like, 7 bounty hunters.
Even worse because I remember the fucking Jedi and Sith were never a unit I used in that game. I always would go armor rush. I use them hardcore
exclusively.
Armor rush. Actually, no. I don't even go armor rush. I don't even go. I mean, the holocron's the only reason I do it.
Yeah.
Because with the holocrons, you get a whole bunch of fucking bonuses to your resources. So I would never fucking use them for anything else. And I think I would only ever get the Padawans. I don't think I would ever upgrade into a full like Sith master. I think I would only like a Sith or Jedi master. I think I would only ever get the Padawan or apprentice.
I do it only if I had like the extra resources laying around. No, I always went infantry and anti-mech.
I always went for. I think I always did mechanized or artillery. I think that was always my big thing. I had one stint where I used to do a lot with like airborne units. I'd get the big ass fucking like the big artillery ship from the fortress and whatever.
Yep.
I'd build that fucker up and a bunch of like bombers and fighters so that I have something to fight airborne and ground.
Yep.
And I just tear apart an entire base with a bunch of airborne because the AI doesn't build a bunch of They build a bunch of laser turrets, but they don't build a whole lot in terms of AA. Outside the big buildings like the fortresses and shit, they build a bunch of AA and shields.
Yeah, no, they build a bunch of AA units.
Yeah, no, they build a ton of AA units.
So many.
That's why I bring the artillery. That's for them. That's for them to deal with. But yeah, no, you got bounty hunters in general I think bounty hunting in general is a cool profession, and it's another one that it's so morally great because there are bounties that are done that are like, these are for good reasons or for lawful reasons even.
Yep.
But you don't have that. And I think that's why I like the idea of bounty hunters in Star Wars, is because they're never presented as this like general evil or general good. They are always they always have some level of gray, like moral gray factor to them. Because even Cad Bane has some level of like moral gray to him. Especially with the shit we saw in Tales of the Underworld. Like,
oh yeah,
Cad Bane is a definitive moral gray character.
It's weird how his voice changed.
I think that was the attempt to make him. Younger. Was weird, but
yeah, he sounded like a regular child, and then he got older and immediately went straight into the Cad Bane voice. And you're like, what happened there?
I mean, doing the work he did, I'm sure he had a lot of time with the death sticks.
That's fair. I always thought his voice was like that because he had those tubes going into his throat.
Mm.
And that's why I thought, like, oh, that's why his voice is gravelly. And I was like, no, he's just like that.
No, he's just raised like that, I guess. It's it's weird, but it's whatever. I'm not gonna fucking sweat it. No. It's a minor factor that I'm like. Honestly, I think of all the like little Tales of stories, Tales of the Underworld may have actually been my favorite of all of them. Because we've had like Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Empire. Now we've had Tales of the Underworld, and I'm like, dude, both of these were fucking phenomenal. Because you've got like the Ventress story post Rise of the Empire, and we actually got to see. Because you and me, we went through Dark Disciple. We got to see that final moment.
Yeah.
And we actually got to see it not just from Quinlan and Obi-Wan's perspective there, but we got to see it from Ventress's perspective too. How she actually comes back and why.
Yeah. Also, hyper depressing.
Hyper depressing.
Said that sucked.
Yeah, it was not.
Just the first like 5 minutes of the first episode, you're like, oh, this sucks,
dude.
Ventress, my beloved.
I did appreciate though that we got to see her character finally come full circle and get the whole redemption bit.
Yes.
I did appreciate that we finally got to see her come full circle and get her redemption.
Yep.
She may not have actually gotten her actual happy ending with Quinlan, but she found her own little happy ending, and I think that was nice. She got her new family to really like, she got her new friends, new crew to build with, and she's fine now. She's got her own her own apprentice, I guess. Little Jedi boy Lyko was his name.
I have no idea.
I think it was like Lyko or something.
I did not pay attention to his
honestly,
name at all.
They only mention it once. Is the fucked up part. They mention it once, and I'm like, who the fuck are you? I thought we were gonna get I honestly thought we were gonna get some actual like some of the like younger Jedi or whatever to pop up as like this kid. Yeah. But no, that was not what we got at all. I was genuinely surprised.
Was super hyped about that Theron. That Theron bounty hunter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember her name. She's cool as fuck. That was the first time I've ever actually seen her.
Razi.
Other than like the book. Like that is the first time I've visually seen her. She's cool as shit.
She pops up a bunch in the later parts of Clone Wars.
Haven't gotten that far.
Oh,
that's why I said this is my first time seeing her. She's
and the fact I think her first debut is when Ventress starts her bounty hunter story.
That would make sense. Yeah. No, I haven't even gotten to the point where I've seen Ventress.
Because she and Bosk are the ones who recruit Ventress to the job where they go off with Boba.
Yeah, I haven't even gotten to the part where Ventress shows up. I'm not far. I think I am almost done with season 2.
Oh, you've seen Ventress at least twice then.
Yeah? I don't remember.
Yeah, because Ventress literally is in the first episode of the Clone Wars.
Oh, well then, yeah, I guess I've seen her once then.
She shows up there. She shows up another time as like a hologram in the episode with the clone troopers. The clone recruits.
Okay. Yeah. The one where the commando droids shine.
Dude, that was, I think, that was both one of the most chilling scenes to see as a kid. Like, the commando droids roll it up like that. Because I remember watching that shit as
found out is because they're droids and say Roger, Roger. Oh, it's so fucking cool.
I mean, they think about it they take a moment to pause for a moment, like, what the fuck? And then they talk, and then the fucking signal flare pops. Cody hesitates for all the second. Rex, zero chill. Like,
Roger. Did he just flare? Die!
This is why I love Rex. Rex is a fucking treat to have.
Could you imagine if that was actually just a clone trying to make a joke?
Dude, that'd be fucked up.
Oh my god, that would have devastated Rex. Holy shit.
I think
His
Rex in
only
the first
defense
place
was,
would have...
he said Roger, Roger! Oh my god.
Dude, that would
have sucked.
fucking awful.
Would have been funny as shit though. Like headcanon, that's funny. Terrible
yeah.
for Rex. But
Yeah, awful for Rex.
funny.
Like, but we're see, and that's another thing I think I don't think I ever actually remembered, but there's other like weird bounty hunter stuff that pop up. Bounty hunting is probably I could have honestly done bounty hunting as like a whole video because of how much there really is to cover when it goes down to it, because there's various ways the bounty hunting profession was used throughout every era, and even throughout both Legends and canon. Like, Legends and canon use bounty hunting pretty much they use them in different ways, and in some cases they're similar, in some cases they show very different ways of them. Because like Legends, obviously you see bounty hunters as like the very like cold and cutthroat hunters who are after their prey and the credits that they earn from them. They're out here looking for targets and marks, and they're here to fucking make their bank.
Get that back.
But and some bounty hunters do obviously have that like mix of morality to them, because especially with characters like Boba and Django, you really see that the morality fixture with both of them. Because in Legends, obviously, we get to see the whole bit of, like, Django's origins and how he actually becomes a bounty hunter.
Yep.
Django, as a character, was very morally gray. Like, he obviously was not he obviously was a cold and cutthroat individual, especially as we're fucking seeing in the freaking bounty hunter game. Fucking drop a senator from several millions of feet off the ground.
Yeah, he's got to go.
We can't make use of this man. This man knows too much. He's seen our face. Die. Let's fucking drop a senator off the fucking high rises of Coruscant. Yeah, that's gonna go well. That's gonna go well. But even aside from that, we know Django's got a smaller part of him that he does actually like value as he has that like humanity to him still. He obviously knows the job he does is dirty and messy. The work he does is not clean. But he also knows that there's no easy way to get through it without getting your hands dirty. The job is not gonna leave your hands free of blood. Someone's blood is getting shed throughout this whole ordeal. But the whole thing with bounty hunting in general just kind of piles up to there's a lot of reasoning behind why bounties go up from various organizations, because we've seen a couple of the fucking hilarious ones in Bounty Hunter. There have been some fucking hilarious ones in there. Like, it's fucking insane some of the things these people get fucking got for.
Yeah.
But they very clearly, and that's here's the other part I want to note. Most of those were Republic Security Force bounties. Those were ones authorized by the Republic.
Yeah.
Like, that's the fucking insane part about that. The Republic authorized a lot of those bounties. It's fucking wild. And there's various places that, even in different eras, used bounties differently. like the Sith Empire in Legends. Dude, the Sith Empire had bounties galore when it came to like Republic officials, military officers, Jedi, and the Republic was no fucking different. Let's put a bounty on every fucking Darth we can.
All of them.
We are not afraid to be as awful as our enemy.
They deserve it.
Even though you are clearly in the wrong.
I drew you as the soy jack and me as the Chad.
And that is every SOTOR character ever.
Oh, it sucked.
The bounty hunting, even in later eras, like the Imperial era, like again, fucking Jedi. Jedi never not have a bounty on them. There's never not a bounty on Jedi. Is the fucking insane part here.
Yeah. Should have been hated across time.
They were the real villains all along. Palpatine was right.
The Empire did nothing wrong.
I mean, the Empire did something wrong, but it wasn't killing the Jedi. The Empire did something wrong. You know, it's building that awful fucking background piece in the sky.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, calling it the Death Star seemed kind of a bad move.
Building it in general was not a smart idea. And especially and we will discuss this next week when we do cover Andor, because we're gonna cover Andor next week.
Yep.
We'll
Heads
go ahead
up,
and
everybody listening to the sounds of our voice.
Yeah, everyone, we're gonna cover Andor. We're gonna cover the entirety of Andor next week because they've wrapped up season 2. So we're gonna cover Andor in its entirety next week, and there's a lot to talk about. Like, I thought season 1 was great, was fucking phenomenal. Season 2 came out fucking swinging, and it ended fucking amazing. Like, I don't think I could have asked for a better piece of Star Wars media. I genuinely don't think I could have asked for a better piece of Star Wars media.
It was fantastic.
We'll get into all those details then. Though I will say that as we move away from bounty hunting, because I think we've run this one into the dirt a bit. There's a lot we could still probably cover, but I think we want to cover some of the other stuff because there's still a fair bit, like smuggling. Because smuggling, I think, is probably one of the more. So here's the one where I think we start to teeter off from being completely okay to this is a necessary evil in some cases.
Yes.
Like, where bounty hunting can obviously be regarded as a worthwhile profession, smuggling is one of those where you really start to see the individuals who are more... I think they earn the proper scoundrel moniker.
Well, yeah.
The actual scum and scoundrels come from here.
Yeah. Not so much the villainy, but definitely the scum.
Yeah, there's a good bit of that in here. And smuggling is kind of multi-layered because it plays into a lot of other illicit activities. Because while smuggling itself is very generalized in what you do, because you could have, like, I think another part to really kind of point out, kind of a poke for what we're reading right now for the book club, the Deceived novel, where there's a character in there, Zirid. Zirid is a very big... He's one of the 3 main factors of that story. And he himself was a former Republic military officer who worked with Havoc Squad and was a pilot for the Republic. He used to be a shuttle pilot. And then he went on to be a smuggler who worked with Havoc Squad for a while. And then he went on to just being a regular smuggler for the Exchange.
That was a poor choice.
Yeah, that's probably like the one criminal organization I would never actually fall in line with.
Here's the thing. I'd rather work for a hut.
I'd honestly, yeah.
I'd rather work for a hut.
The benefits for working with the huts do actually outweigh the negatives in some cases. And at least
Depending
with the huts,
on what you do.
At least with the huts, you know if you fuck up, it's actually fucking deserved.
Yeah.
Like, the huts are 90%, or at least 80% of the time, going to play you fair. Like, you do the job, you do it well enough, they will actually be fair in the deal. They also will actually be beneficial if you show you've actually got the guts and the, like, willingness to haggle with them. Like, hut crime bosses are very amenable when it comes to deals made and deals earned.
They love to make deals.
They are by all accounts, they are definitely the criminal businessmen. They are, by all accounts, the definitive mafia of Star Wars.
They love to make deals, and you know they'll keep them.
And if you don't, you know they're coming for you.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Because that's why Han Solo got caught.
If any of us back out, we're done. Like, if Jabba backed out of the deal, the other Hutts would have been like, yo, what the fuck?
Especially
and everyone who worked under him would have been like, yo, what the fuck?
Especially since after the whole bit, especially since after the Empire rose, Jabba became the Hutt leader.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
no, if you are in a position of power like Jabba and you back out of a deal, everyone who's under you, who's been supporting you and working for you, have all lost faith in you immediately.
It's the reason why Zero ended up the way he did. Zero ended up two-timing and he got caught with the fucking Separatists.
Yeah.
He got caught dealing in bed with Dooku, and that was not the place he needed to be. Especially since he was dealing with, like, fucking with the other Hutts. Specifically, his nephew and Jabba's son. You're going after the Hutt families in that instance. You're attacking family with family in that instance. Like, it's not a... That's not a business that criminals abide by.
No.
Like, that's I think another big thing when it comes to some of these, like, criminal factions in Star Wars is, like, double dealing, and especially trying to cross your family just to power grab. Not a viable fucking option at all.
Yeah. No.
Like, you are not going to fucking win that gambit. Because either the outside forces that are working against you, or the fucking group you're going against themselves will fuck you over.
No, absolutely.
Because they will find out one way or another. They will know what you did, and you're getting got for it. And that's a big reason why the Hutts may actually be the most amenable when it comes to... I think even so... think like KOTOR and SOTOR also show this a bit. Like, dealing with the Hutts is the easiest thing to really undergo when it comes to dealing with various criminal groups. They are the easiest to appeal to and the easiest to reason with.
Yeah.
Because you could reason with a Hutt. The Exchange? Nope. Nope. Fucking... Nope. The Exchange is not a group you want to be dealing with. Like, we see that many times. They also don't actually succeed as much as they think they do. Like, the Exchange, for that era... Because the Exchange, honestly, is not a group that even, in Legends, survives past the rise of the Empire. Like, they go up in smoke after the fall of the Sith Empire, honestly. They're a criminal faction that pretty much disintegrate after a certain point. And I've tried looking into the Exchange at one point. They don't have a whole lot of history deep into the Clone Wars.
No.
Like, it's even funnier because the Exchange pretty much dies off around the Old Republic. But the one group that is actually born from the Old Republic that rises so high up is the Black Sun.
Yeah.
Because the Black...
Also, not someone I'd want to work for.
Nope. They are probably as bad as the Pikes when it comes to, like, criminal factions to work for.
I'd say almost worse than the Pikes.
Oh, they are definitely... I think I would argue they are definitely the worst to work for. Especially of, like, the modern crime syndicates. They are the worst.
Yeah. It's not a good thing.
Sorry, Sizor, I'm not doing it, buddy. It's not happening. I saw what happened in Shadow to the Empire. No. No. You ain't getting me like that. I ain't going down that easy.
We'll fight you.
We'll fight you, and you will lose. Oh, God, it's so fun. I definitely think we're doing that game when we finish Bounty Hunter.
Hell yeah, dude.
I think that's gonna be the next game we do once we finish Bounty Hunter. But fucking officially bouncing back onto smuggling. The smuggling itself, while very generalized as a trade and profession, also ties into a lot of the other activities of various illicit groups and activities. Smuggling itself is just the illegal movement of various goods and peoples. Because smuggling is just the act of moving into trade moving merchandise and people to a location where they are not supposed to originally go. That's the whole deal with smuggling, is like under the table trade.
Yeah.
Under the table in the shadows trading. It's kind of a cut and dry process, but is both thrill-seeking and lucrative all at the same time. It's also very dangerous, especially depending on the eras you're in. Because, like, post-Empire, I think smuggling was actually one of the least profitable, in my opinion. I think smuggling post-Empire is probably one of the least profitable options for a profession. Because you lose out on a lot of the Imperial blockades, and most factions at that point are trying to look for legal trading, and most of the fucking criminals are either doing their own thing or are moving trade themselves. I mean, it's not a very lucrative option later on after the Empire. At least in Legends, I could probably say that, but in canon, I think smuggling is still a very viable option because you've got all the warlords running around. The New Republic is a lot more, like, tight-knit with their, like, Outer Rim defense forces and shit, so they're very active in, like, patrolling Outer Rim sectors, keeping up on locations. It's definitely worth keeping up on the smuggling game in canon, especially as you go into, like, the sequel eras where now you've got the First Order running around and they're a fucking bunch of trigger-happy maniacs.
Yeah.
The smuggling definitely earns itself as a better profession in canon, in post-Empire canon versus Legends. Now, during the Imperial era, that and I think the Old Republic were probably the most lucrative markets. Like, everything from, like, the Old Republic through to the end of the Imperial era, no matter which side of the fucking spectrum, was the most lucrative time to be a smuggler. Like, smuggling for most of the galaxy's existence was a lucrative profession. Because in the Old Republic, you obviously had all the worlds that were being conquered or cut off from various groups by either the Republic or the Sith Empire and all the other criminal factions who were dabbling in places. the various wars with all the different like trade factions, all the blockades of the Trade Federation following the fall of the Empire and the build up and during the Clone Wars. All the fucking all the Trade Federation blockades in general made smuggling a hella lucrative fucking venture. Because fucking lucre hulks, man. Yeah. That's an intimidating sight, no matter who you are. Like, if you're running around in this rinky-dink fucking YT freighter, you see that thing up in the fucking orbit, and it's holding off. There's like 3 of them holding a planet. Like, I'd double check myself, and I'd make sure all my ducks are in a row before I start dealing with that shit. But if I had the balls to actually make for it, dude, I'm bombing it. I'm rushing. I will go through that blockade one way or another. Consequences be damned.
When will you learn? When will you learn?
You silly, silly Nemoidians. To kind of tie into all the other stuff that smuggling actually dabbles with, there's obviously probably the most lucrative trade of spice running and spice dealing.
Yeah.
Like, the spice industry in general there's money in spice. As awful as the actual thing is.
Unfortunately, there's money in spice.
Like, spice is very dirty money when it all comes together. It is very dirty money, but you sure as shit earn enough to clear your fucking conscience of it. Dude, you're pulling average 6 digits when you make a spice run.
Oh, yeah.
The spice is a lucrative market. And even if you're peddling raw spice, dude, raw spice, you're pulling even more. Because that's the stuff all these dealers in, like, the Pikes, the Huts, need that. Unrefined spice is what pushes the industry forward. Because not only does spice have the obvious negative effects of being a very, very strong narcotic in most cases, it is also a very, very profitable medicine in some other cases. Spice has been known to be used in multiple ways. As a drug, as an actual illegal hard drug, or as an actual medicinal drug. It is used as a prime ingredient in a lot of medicines that during both the Clone Wars and the Old Republic, both were using a lot of that.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's a lot of money in spice no matter which way you swing the pendulum. And again, it's a very, very illegal activity if you're not doing it for the right reasons. Like, spice is probably the one thing outside our next bit I don't think you want to fucking get caught dealing. Like, that's rough.
Yup.
That's rough stuff to be caught with, because especially during the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars and the Imperial era. Dude, that shit'll get you. There's a whole reason why in the Thrawn book, like, Gotti using the fucking sprayer just absolutely powders price in the raw spice.
Yeah.
Like, that's hard stuff to be caught with. You do not want to be found with that shit. And especially, and not just because of the law enforcement factor, like, the law will get you for various shit, and that is not a crime you want to be fucking dealt with. You don't want to be fucking charged with spice dealing. That's not a fucking crime you can really get out of reasonably. Without extensive help from criminal buddies, it's not a fucking venture you're getting out of.
It's a bad time.
But even more so, those same criminals also want your spice. So not only are you on the eyes of the law, you're also on the eyes of other criminal factors who want what you're peddling and are more than willing to take it either for themselves or to sell it themselves and make a profit. They're willing to either take your profit and kill you for it, or the law is out there to take your profit and fucking lock you away forever. Like you're very easily being locked away for life in Republic or Imperial jails for spice dealing. The spice trade is a very dangerous industry, and I won't say it's not a very lucrative venture. Despite that, it's definitely money. But I think our next trade is probably the one that I think universally, at least depending on the era you reside in, is definitely the one that I think a lot of people don't really like. And this also kind of ties into the smuggling factor, because how else are you supposed to move people who you are not supposed to have, and who you have acquired through very illicit means? Because now we're starting to look at probably the darker, and I think in my opinion probably one of the more it's a grim dark profession, being a slave trader.
Yep.
Slavers in Star Wars are not a very favored profession. There's very rare groups and very rare eras where slave trade was a very viable option in Star Wars. Like, there were obviously whole worlds even who were targeted for slave trades. Fucking Ryloth and Kashyyyk are the two biggest that come to my mind.
Rip the Wookiees, dude.
The Wookiees were
from their homes.
The Wookiees were ripped from their homes by the Empire after the Clone Wars. They hired Trandoshan slavers to imprison them and lock them away in work camps, or sending them off to hellholes like Kessel to work in ungodly environments.
Oh yeah.
That were obviously made to kill the Wookiees. Like, there was very clearly no remorse there. And I don't know if I really want to even go into why Ryloth was targeted the way it was.
Ryloth was targeted because they are Star Wars Asari. Everybody finds a Twi'lek attractive, and that's a problem and weird, and I don't like it. Not that they're attractive, because I also think, some of them, like, smash. But that is the reason why they were enslaved.
And that's the biggest reason, but they also were very much unfortunately, the Twi'leks of Ryloth were very much a easily targeted species because of a lot of the species, they were not very well able to defend themselves.
No.
They very much did not have a strong defense against slavers like that, and they were very much pushed and peddled around by other big factors of the galaxy.
That was something that happened even during the Old Republic, which is... So for thousands of years...
For thousands of years, these people have been enslaved.
I guess technically the Wookiees too, because Circa did it.
Yeah, but Circa didn't hold that for very long.
No.
Circa kind of came in, tried to set up shop, and then they got fucked over when Revan decided, hey, stop doing that.
Yep.
You stop that this instant.
Stop it, or I'll make you.
Stop it, or else. Stop it, or else.
Oh, Circa, you're so crazy. You should stop that, or else.
Oh, Zerka, you silly boys. You should stop that. This is a threat. It's easily one of the biggest. It's easily one of the biggest, most frowned upon, because there is obviously there's no justification to morality when it comes to the slave trade. Like smuggling, there's the moral factor. There's a morally gray factor there because not all of what you're peddling is illegal. Bounty hunting, obviously, you're either doing it for illegal means or you're doing it for the legal system. Like, the legal system put out a bounty on this motherfucker, and it was okayed by official powers that justified this person being got for a bounty. Like, they okayed this man's death. You're not going to get paid as much for it, but you will still get credits for putting this man down. Or in some cases, you could only put the man down. Some criminal factions had, like, pure kill fucking marks. Like, it's fucking insane. I think that was most of the ones we found in that one mission with the senator in the high-rise. Like, I don't think we found... I think we only found, like, 2 or 3, but I think all of them were kill ones. I don't think there was a single one that was actually a capture. I don't remember. But I also don't remember a lot of the bounties from that one other than the 2 that were, like, on the docking... on the, like, parking areas and the balconies. But there's... it's... I don't think we could justify that one to any extent compared to the other 2. Because even spice dealing, like, so long as you're on that side that's making it and selling it for the use of making medicine, spice trading can be legal. The spice as an ingredient is not evil. Spice for what it's made into can be evil.
Yeah. Spice itself, not a bad thing. Raw spice itself, not a bad thing.
Raw spice, it's what you do with that makes it a not great thing. But I think there's other ones as well, like when it comes, I think arms dealing is another big one in the Star Wars universe that really kind of comes up as very morally gray, especially pending on the active era of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because, well, criminals obviously are doing this to supply each other with guns that they steal from the Republic or the Empire or whatever. You look at arms dealing when it comes to, like, active wars going on. Like, I think one of the biggest instances of a arms deal being made legal is when Anakin hires Hondo at one point to go on a mission to deliver a set of rocket launchers for the militia resistance on Onderon when the Separatists tried to occupy Onderon. Anakin offers Hondo a deal of sending these crates of fucking rocket launchers because they're getting fucking attacked by gunships that are shielded. It's the first actual instance we see the fucking droid gunships from Revenge of the Sith in the video games. The first time we're actually seeing them in action in the Clone Wars series, they're being deployed against the militia of Onderon. The resistance movement on Onderon is fighting back against the Separatists, and they can't kill these things because they are fucking shielded, and the best they've got are blaster rifles. They can't fucking pop the gunship shields because they don't have any way to really pop their shields. So And they're heavily armored in the first place. Like, what the fuck is a blaster rifle gonna do against this thing?
Yeah.
So Hondo moves a bunch of rocket launchers to Onderon to help the resistance there actually be able to take out these gunships. He flies into an active fucking war zone, drops a bunch of rocket launchers, and is like, all right, I did my thing. I'm out.
Done and dusted, dude.
There's even, like, other ones that pop up. I think the Old Republic has a bunch of them in the Smuggler storyline, where you're moving supplies to Republic assets. I think there's some in there that are like that. After you are, like, privateered by the Republic to do work for them. They have you move, I think it's a mission to Balmora. You're moving arms for the Republic to Balmora because the Republic's trying to help take back Balmora by that point. From the Sith occupation.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the big reasons you're there is to take some of the weapons there. But there's a bunch of other stuff that pops up, and arms trading in general, I think, is one that really is a morally gray, depending on which side of the spectrum it's swinging. Because I think that's also another thing we can point back to old Z-Man in his, in like the first chapter, the first like 10 minutes of the Deceived novel, is Z-Man making a delivery to Ord Mantell to deliver a whole fucking cargo bay loaded with fucking munitions and weapons.
Yeah.
He's got his ship kitted out. He's got his ship's cargo bay loaded with a bunch of weapons. And I think an instance of showing that this can very easily be a dangerous and, like, not a viable option is when you see, like, what happens there. Like, he goes out, tries to meet his client. A ship shows up. He thinks it's his client's ship. Obviously, it is not the client inside, and it is a bunch of people he doesn't recognize. All of them are shifty as shit, and very clearly not the people who are here supposed to pick up this cargo. And so he peddles this all off to, he tries to, like, pan out the situation, and I think this also shows how you need to have a reasonable and cool head when it comes to these kinds of professions.
Yes.
Like, Z-Man's performance in that whole instance shows that he's done this shit more often than he probably should. And he is very weathered and experienced when it comes to knowing when something is off and knowing when something needs to be a certain way and it isn't. Like, the guys go into the cargo, they try to go into the cargo hold, and at that point he just pops both of the dudes there.
Yep.
And then a big firefight ensues, and as they try to board into the cargo ramp, he ends up losing one of the crates of grenades, and then makes a pass around and blows up the crate with the ship and everybody there.
Yep. They all gotta go.
So it's a very viable, it's a very dangerous trade, because obviously you're moving stuff that if you get hit the wrong way or your cargo bay goes up in smoke, you're fucking done. Like, you're gone. But
and that's how you also find out that the exchange is a bunch of absolute dipshit assholes.
Fucking incompetent morons. Because that's very much shown with his contact in the exchange. He very clearly is like, this was a job that you should have had covered. What the fuck happened? Oh, well, you see, it's not my fault that I lost the cargo, so I don't care.
Yeah.
All of this is on you for not delivering the cargo where it needed to go and getting the money. Like, fucking, the Exchange is the worst group of individuals to be working for.
They're such shit, dude.
It's awful. There are literally so many better criminal factions you actively could work for in the Star Wars universe. Except the Black Sun. Black Sun are actually just awful.
Yeah, no, they're just the worst.
I think they embody a lot of the fucking bullshittery of the Exchange. The Exchange's nonsense, but they amp that shit up to 11 where they just don't care. Because I think that shows especially with bouncing again back to Dark Disciple, like the whole bit where Quinlan and Ventress are going to save Mark Krim's wife and his kids. Like that whole scene is just no, buddy. I don't think that's gonna work out for anybody. Of some of the other ones, obviously, you have some like minor. You obviously have some minor crimes and stuff like speeder thieves, the chop shops, and all that, where they and even like even some like cyber docs, like the fucking underground cybernetic doctors. I think one of the big ones I think I remember is the one from Book of Boba Fett, the cyberdoc from that episode where he saves Fennec Shan, and they go in basically pulling out her guts to remake them with cybernetic fill in to basically keep her from dying.
Yep.
There's obviously a bunch of other stuff that's involved with this. There's obviously the ones that are like the droid chop shops that they take droids, mash them up into either resell the parts or to repurpose them into horrid fucking amalgamations that they use for like droid fight pits or some dumb shit like that.
Yeah.
I guess that's another one that can also be attributed is like illegal fight rings or illegal sports, like legal gambling rings and sport rings. Fighting rings for like animals, droids, people. You've got all of that, plus the various illegal sports like swoop racing.
I love swoop racing.
You got swoop racing, you got pod racing, and even in other fucking eras, you've got fucking starfighter racing. Which,
yeah, again,
Resistance is... I can't fault it as a... I want to say it's better than it is, but it's of the animated Star Wars stuff, it's definitely the weakest of all of them. It shines in its own way as, like, this was very clearly a kid's show. But it also was, like, if you aren't a fan of something like... If you aren't a fan of something like the series Stormhawks, I don't think you're gonna like this show. If you didn't know, or didn't like Stormhawks, I can't help you. I can't help you. This obviously was not the show for you. Resistance had a big fixture of, like, a mix of a spy story and, like, silly little adventures mixed in with, like, these epic races with these, like, epic underground races at a spaceport off on the far edges of the rim where they repurposed this old Imperial fueling station. They repurposed this whole Imperial space station into a speeder ring. It's a whole hub and spaceport on the Outer Rim where they managed to set up this whole event of starfighter racing. They are And the Starfighters are all, like, heavily modified, swooped up fucking airspeeder type deal. Like, they're obviously all Starfighters, but they're used in atmosphere for the most part. There's
for funsies.
There's another couple instances where we actually see them in space, like one of the big hot shot racers who has a big pass with the Hutts. He meets up with a Hutt he had business with and used to be one of the stars of his ring. He goes up against another star of the Hutt's ring, and you get to actually see this new instance of the Starfighter races in this dangerous asteroid field. Like, Starfighter racing through an asteroid field.
Yeah.
Which, as a concept, again, it's a fucking cool idea. Like, as an entertainment prospect, I would fucking watch the shit out of Starfighter racing.
It would be pretty fucking cool.
Be like racing airplane, maybe like racing fucking jet planes, actual real life. That'd be dope as shit. I'd fucking kill to see some dumb shit like that.
Hell yeah, dude.
Fuck
Dude,
NASCAR.
there's some stuff
Fuck
I've
NASCAR.
seen.
Put fucking planes in racing. God damn it.
There's videos I've seen of people playing Star Citizen, and all they're doing is it's two people, and all they're doing is flying as close to the ground as possible, and like weaving through like hills and canyons and shit. And it is the coolest shit I've seen in a video game. Like, that's dope as hell.
Man, I really wish Star Citizen was actually worth picking up.
Yeah, I wish it was a good game.
I wish it was an actual complete game.
Oh, I wish it was a real game and not a scam.
Yeah. The longest running scam that still has people buying into it.
Dude, people are buying digital spaceships for like thousands of dollars.
I think they just announced one that was like $10,000 for a fucking super cruiser.
Now here's the thing. People keep buying it, so they're never going to finish the game. They're just going to keep releasing new ships and charging people money because the whales are already too far in.
Yeah, it's awful.
That game is never going to finally release.
And it sucks because it has all the potential to be honestly what Starfield should have been.
Yeah. It has the potential to be everything anyone ever would have wanted out of a
like open world sci-fi sandbox.
Like, it has everything you'd want. Too bad it's never going to release, and it's just a huge scam. It sucks so bad.
Awful. I remember the days when I used to be hyped for Star Citizen.
Yeah! Like, I'm like, oh man, this game's gonna be so good. I can't wait. And then as the decades have gone by, at least decades.
Decades. No.
I don't think it's been 2.
I think we're almost at 2.
Fuck!
I think we're almost at 2. I think because I think this game has been in development since oh fuck, when has it actually been in development? I have to pull this up now.
You're gonna make me sad when you look it up.
They began officially in the official development start was in 2013. The concept prototype for pre-production was 2011, but the first studio formation was not until 2012.
Ugh. Ugh.
So official development did not officially begin until 2013.
So
8 years.
12 years.
It'll be 8 years before we get another decade to say this game has not released.
Yeah. Oh. Hey, at least it got a playable, workable,
something
game you can at least touch. Unlike Stars,
it's got a something to it. It's got a something.
Silk Song. There it is. Hey, apparently it's releasing on Switch too.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be fucking dropping $550 for a fucking Switch 2.
Oh, you think that's before tariffs, dude?
That's what the official price is. That's what the official price is right now. It's 500.
Yeah.
It's like $500 for a Switch 2.
But again, it hasn't actually released yet, so wait till the tariffs get worse. You're looking at like a $700 handheld game system that still won't run Pokemon properly.
I really hope that it actually can, because Legends
Here's
ZA looks really fun. But
from what they've put out, it looks good. It looks like it has a stable frame rate. It'll be fine for last gen. Once new gen games come out, it'll be bad again. Because Nintendo is nothing if not consistent.
I think Nintendo found the way to officially market themselves as... They went from like the most consumer friendly for almost a decade to let's find the quickest way in 20 minutes to shoot ourselves in the foot.
Run by dinosaurs, dude. They're run by dinosaurs.
Fucking yeah.
Yup, just like that.
But I don't think there is a whole lot else in regards to smuggling, at least, that I could really tie into some of the other stuff. There's obviously other professions that I really can target, as far as like these are very, very clearly bad. These are very clearly like evil actions, or even like these have a moral gray factor to them. Most of these are going to be like really evil, because like Star Wars also has a really crazy thing in some cases about the organ harvesting. Let's fucking take organs from various aliens and individuals, and let's peddle that shit off to people who could possibly need it. Let's save all these hospitals a shit ton of money, air quotes.
Yep. So much money we're saving you. You should thank us.
Held at Blaster Point, you should thank us.
Held at Blaster Point with one hand doing the Jedi mind trick, knowing it's not gonna work because the blaster's right in their hand.
It's so fucking dumb. I think another big thing is obviously there's the various just general credit thieves, and that's credit thieves and slicers. I think I could actually generally mix into these two. There's obviously the banker heist people, like it's very clear that the stealing of credits is a viable option, especially after the Clone War, especially after the fall of the Sith Empire. When you're in like the later Empire, like the Republic's era, and you're in the Clone Wars and all that, hunting down banking clan vessels was a very banking clan vault ships were a very lucrative mark for a lot of people.
Yep.
Because guess what? The banking clan peddled a lot of their fucking ships off to the Separatist Alliance so that they had a fleet to use from a bunch of their defense force fleets. All those munificent cruisers and shit, those were used by the banking clan as freighters and defense ships. That's one of the biggest things I think is wild about the Separatist fleet in general. Which, if we do an actual like dedicated video on the Separatist, like the Clone Wars armadas, I think that's one thing I will mention again, is most of the fleets that were put together were from modified freighters and like destroyers for fleet protection, like trade fleet defense. genuinely just, it blows my mind in those cases. It's the same kind of thing with their, like, rebel fleets. Most of those were, like, modified patrol ships and freighters and cruise liners. Because all the fucking Moncal ships, those were all freighters and cruise liners.
Yep. There's something to say about Star Wars having ships that were just like, hey, we're just gonna turn our pleasure like ships and like cruise liners and like, you know, some freighters and stuff into shit that can take down, you know, destroyers and battleships. That's insane.
Wild is what it is. We're turning these fucking freighters and simple, like, light, so, like, just defense force ships into full-on warships. Fucking blow the shit out of my brain.
Pretty fucking wild.
I guess that's also kind of a big thing to kind of bounce on for, like, kind of touching on that. Shipjacking. I know that's a big fucking profession.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we fucking see it a lot in the Thrawn novel.
Yup.
It's literally like a big part of the Thrawn novel story is
good old-fashioned ship thieves.
Using jury-rigged slave codes to fucking kidnap an entire fleet of ships. Fucking slave rigging an entire ship to modify it so you have an entire fleet at your disposal. And then taking that whole fleet with you.
Yup.
It's fucking insane. I think, like, one of the biggest ship... I think, at least in that era, one of the bigger ship thieves of that era is mentioned there. Niles Ferrier. He is regarded as the biggest ship thief in all of Star Wars. Like, he's got a whole armada to his backing when he first appears in the third book. And he appears to, like, Talon Cards meet up at the Tapcaf Center. He pulls up with a whole fleet of, like, freighters and corvettes and shit that he himself has stolen.
Yep.
It's fuck. And the craziest part is, his main ship is just a little rinky-dink DP-20. He just has a slightly rinky-dink little modified DP-20. The little, like, missile corvette that Corellia made. Like, fucking insane. I think that's another profession that honestly could be really lucrative and also be very worthwhile for if you wanted to start a criminal enterprise. I think that's one of the reasons why when I made our little Star Wars game back then, I made the option where if you played it right, you could actually get the little Raider, the stolen Raider Corvette that I had as part of that pirate fleet.
Yep.
And I thought that was a neat little trick of, like, I'm gonna see if they actually do this instead of just blowing it up. So, you guys did. You did actually disable it so you could actually use it. Yeah, well, I will also say this. I've been really wanting to fucking make a new... After Andor finished, I really wanted to jump out of nowhere. I want to make a new fucking Star Wars game.
I figured you would.
I'm gonna make another one.
We'll do it again this time, I swear.
I wonder if Fritz is actually fucking able to fucking work his shit out. We may be able to fucking kickstart the old one. I don't know. I don't know. It'll all depend. Because I never actually killed that one. That one's just been iceboxed.
Yeah. I'm completely down to play. I was having a fun time being that badass bounty hunter.
Badass sniper woman.
Yeah, she's dope. I wouldn't even call... No. That was the other one.
No, that was this one.
She wasn't really a sniper.
You
I
had
had a rifle.
you
I had a sniper rifle, but like, I don't think I've used it yet. No, the
You
one
did
that had the
use it.
sniper was the Chiss.
You used it once.
I did? Okay.
Yeah, because you used it during the breakout, remember?
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, you're right.
Because
It
you
is not
used it.
baby time.
Yeah, because you shot out the. You used that specifically to target the door controls so that you had all the floors locked off so reinforcements could not get to you.
Yep. I know.
Which I think was probably the smartest thing anybody could have done there.
Yeah, considering there was a lot of dudes.
Because that made it so they had to cut through the fucking blast doors to the hangar so that you guys had time to escape.
Yep, right up until those grenades blew me up.
Yeah, well. There had to be at least one thing to go wrong in that entire fucking breakout. And that was definitely the one.
Yeah, ooh.
That was rough, but you still managed to make it out and with a whole bunch of toys in tow.
Hell yeah.
It worked out in the end.
It always does. Except when it doesn't.
Sometimes that's only partially. But
yeah.
I think the only other some of the other real big stuff obviously is like slicing is a big thing to kind of cover there. Basically, for those unaware, slicing in Star Wars is basically their version of hacking. They use hacking as a very slicing and hacking are the same thing. It's just slicing is cooler.
Yeah.
It's your
slicing sounds way cooler than hacking.
It's a
when
way.
You say like I'm gonna hack the system, my mind immediately goes to like the guy with the Nintendo like gauntlet with the keyboard on, like Hacker Man. Like that sucks. Slicing? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it has a much more unique ring to it than just. It's like how Star Wars uses droid instead of robots.
Yep. Oh my god, I found out why that happened. Droid. Star Wars invented the word droid.
Yep. In fact, they have a patent on the word droid.
Yep, because they were androids, but for sake of shooting, they shortened it down to just droid. And then that's what they just started calling them in the movie. And like, no, this is way better.
This is way better. This is better in every way.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, we're definitely looking at the ways that this like slicing is used very versatilely in Star Wars, and there's a lot of ways it is used. Like because of the high-tech universe Star Wars is, slicing is actually one of the most effective professions to have. It's like an underworld profession. It is definitely up there as one of the most effective in this high-tech galaxy.
Oh yeah.
Like unless you're on, especially when it comes to even like the backwater worlds, having a slicer in a backwater world basically is like saying, hey, this whole fucking planet might as well be mine because there's nothing you could ever do to stop me. I have every way to hack to just slice through your fucking house and slice through the security system of your housing, get in there, and be able to just make it all mine. I could slice the security system of your house and make everything there mine. And there is nothing you could do to stop me.
Yep.
Like, it's so fucking crazy, the level of shit they do there. How you doing? Fucking cooped up in a corner somewhere. Cooped up in a little corner off the side, looking at me. Doing stupid. What are you doing? I do see you.
You don't see nothing.
I don't think there's many other. I don't think as far as like the generalized like criminal acts, there's not much else left to talk about. I think there's probably really only one, but I think that really kind of comes down to the way it's done. A big thing to kind of note is um, during a lot of the bigger eras, some planets and governments try to utilize. Basically, they try to like cut down on a lot of the product production, like item production for a lot of stuff by using alternative additives.
Yep.
So it really kind of to like cut down on cost and the like accessibility of production and all that shit. Um so I guess you could kind of look at that as one of the various like criminal actions that have been done, and I guess that also kind of pedals back to the smuggling concept, like making these cheap products which have like a 50% success rate based on how well the actual like production is made.
Mm-hmm.
I think another kind of bounce back on the Clone Wars talk is like in one of the episodes revolving around like Mandalore and everything. We see a whole thing about these members of, I think it was the Pikes show up. I think it was the Pikes show up, and they are they come in and peddle a bunch of like materials on the Mandalore spaceports, trying to like produce these simple products of which I think the big one that got him caught was this production of a specific tea, these like bottled teas that were being made, and in order to produce them the way in like mass quantities, they were using a chemical known as slabin, and it was a toxic chemical if not put in the right dosage. But slabin was used in the production to basically pump out more of these teas to pump out more of a profit.
Yeah.
And
Fancy tea.
and the tea's dosage obviously was done wrong, so a bunch of kids were getting sick over the slabin that was being put in wrong doses at the schools where these kids were buying these bottled drinks. So it was a whole big thing there, like, hey, we can't, these individuals are trying to like produce product using alternatives to pump out a higher profit. So there's various groups like that perform these kinds of acts. And I think it happens a lot in some of the later eras of Star Wars more than it does in like the Old Republic era, like the Clone Wars era, and especially during the time of like the Trade Federation's rise to infamy. Because before the Separatists came along, the Trade Federation was kind of like nobody really liked them.
Yeah.
And nobody still likes them. Like the Trade Federation was not a great corporation. They obviously were trying to milk out as much money from everybody in the galaxy as possible. So it's and I mean, when you're fucking carrying around these big ass super freighters in the form of Lucre Hulks, because that's what the Lucre Hulk was it was just a big super freighter, and that's how they got away with building them originally. Because anything of that size was actually outlawed by the Rusan Reformation Project. The Rusan Reformation was what basically forced a lot of, like, after the fall of the Sith Empire, they had to cut down to much smaller craft. Nothing bigger than a certain size category actually would actually be allowed to be produced. So the Trade Federation got away with this by producing the Lucre Hulk and marketing it originally as a super freighter.
Yeah, just a big freighter. Just carries lots of trade goods.
And then later on, they started to weaponize them because big ships like that, very easy target for pirates because it's a big fucking slow-moving vessel, and despite the amount of defenses it could carry, it was very much still a easy target to be hit by pirates and raiders on the trade lanes.
Yep.
So it was not a not a safe product, but it was still, they weaponized the piss out of it afterwards. So either way, it still ended up being something. All in all, though, it does kind of come down to one big factor. It does kind of come down to one big factor there, the fact that it's just, when they officially turned it into the big battleships and control ships of the Separatists, that they really kind of lost the ability to market it any other way. You start peddling this thing as a warship, what can you do at that point?
Yeah, whoops.
It didn't mean much to them because they were still absolutely getting rocked by Republic ships. Fucking Venator. Still fucking punching holes through everything. Because I will also say that I don't quite understand. I don't get, in that instance, the difference with like Legends and Canon for like fleet builds, but I will probably make a video. We'll probably do that as a dedicated video of like the fleets of the various navies of the Clone Wars. Like how they came to. We'll probably make a dedicated video on the actual like fleets of each era kind of thing. I think that'd be a cool idea to do.
That would be pretty cool.
Because we get to talk about more, we get to talk more spaceships and everything, and we get to also discuss some of the logic in some of the construction of these ships, because there's a lot of stupid shit that can come up.
Oh yeah.
But I think that aside from that, there really isn't much outside of this that I could really say is a like criminal action. Obviously there's grander like political scale criminal acts like the blockades of the Trade Federation. But I think a thing I want to kind of talk about is, I think a thing we'll talk about in the future as well, is like the politics of Star Wars versus our politics. Like there's people like to draw the similarities to ours, but there are so many very differences that you can't build them the same way. There's no Geneva suggestion in Star Wars. So the idea of their war criminals is not built the same way as our war criminals. Which I think is why they get away with a lot of the stuff they do in Star Wars.
Oh, probably. For sure.
So it's one of those things that I would like to discuss at some point in the future, but as far as any of the like actual talk of more underground talk, more like underworld stuff, I don't think there's much else I could really say here. There's not anything that really differs like as far as like any other criminal acts. Any other occupations obviously is just like, oh, pirates, which I guess I could talk about, but I think Pirates of Star Wars deserve their own fucking video.
For sure.
Like, pirates, bounty hunting definitely deserve their own video to talk about dedicatedly. But I wanted to kind of, like, bundle these up here, because there's a lot to go into. Like, pirates and crime families, I think I could bundle into one video, but bounty hunting, I think, deserves its own video at some point as a profession. And also, you have, like, mercenary work. Like, mercenary work also kind of falls into there, but I guess you could also look at that in the same way as bounty hunting. So, all in all, though, I think that's gonna be all we have to really say on the topic. Like I said, our topic next weekend will be us actually going into and giving our review on Andor. That way, a week passes, and at least most of the spoilers have been talked about.
Yep.
So, we'll give our full thoughts on Andor and how fucking amazing it actually was. Because Dude, there's a lot of stuff to really talk about in that. It's wild. I want to talk about it here, but I know we're gonna talk about it in that episode, so I'm not gonna go into it too much here.
Fair.
I will also remind everybody that we are still on our book club we're still on our book club for this month. We will be doing that. I believe that's what, the 31st is when we were gonna? No, 31st is the no, it'll be the 25th, so that Sunday before Memorial Day will be when we do our book club episode. We are currently reading Star Wars Deceived, which
It's good.
It's a fucking solid book. If you
It is so much better than the last one.
at least this one we're gonna be able to finish.
Yeah. And I'm enjoying this one too.
See, and I know you were kind of like, I talked to you a bit when we were doing, after we took a break during our Star Wars Day streaming. I talked to you a bit on it. You seem like you're enjoying this one a lot more now, because beforehand I know you were like, it's okay so far.
Yeah.
You were like still early into it
Yep.
compared to me, but I also would like to point out that a bit about this before we actually talk into it in full is like, dude, those first minute and a half, the first like 3 chapters of this are exactly what occurs in the Star Wars the betrayal trailer for SOTOR. The Sith Empire trailer is what this actually covers. Like, it covers the entire sacking of Coruscant and all that. Darth Malgus is one of the big primary elements and the big primary antagonist of this story, but also one of the main protagonists of this story. Like, I genuinely don't think he falls into either category as like full antagonist without being a full protag here, because he shares as much of the story as all of the other characters here. And I like this one especially because it's that whole point of like the war capping off before the Treaty of Coruscant is ultimately signed by the Sith and the Republic. Like, the war has kind of reached its peak point, and now the Sith have basically forced the Republic's hand, and that's what we're getting to see here. We also get to see a bit of like some of the outlier factors, like Zerid's whole story in this is interesting in its own way.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how far in you are at this point, but I know I'm almost done with it. I've got maybe 2 hours. I've got maybe 2.5 hours to it still.
I just checked. I've got 5.5.
Yeah, I definitely am gonna be wrapping it up this week. So definitely recommend finishing it. I will have our next one readied up for June, and I also have already looked at the one I think we're gonna do for July as well.
Oh, nice.
We'll have those to look at and admire. So hope you all are enjoying, and I hope you all have a good day. Enjoy your weekend, and hopefully I will be back. Hopefully everything holds together this time, and I will be able to actually stream Borderlands tonight. We'll be streaming Borderlands, and we'll be continuing our Bounty Hunter playthrough.
Yeah.
So I think with that, we'll go ahead and end it off. So until next time, everybody, make sure you hit all the buttons. Check out all the series. As always, this has been the Freelancer, signing off until then. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.